This is for our managers right here. I'm going to talk about standards and vision. So one of the biggest miscues that I see with managers, not just in our company, but in general, is that they don't have, number one, they don't know what their standard is, and number two, they don't communicate that standard directly to their people. So what do I mean by that? Let's say that we have a team of 10 people, and in my mind, my standard is that we show up on time, we work all day long, we take an hour for lunch, and we work 10 minutes past dark. Maybe your standards on your team are, we meet at a later time, we take 20 minutes for lunch, and we knock until 10. Whatever that is, don't get arrested by the cops. But whatever your standards are, that's fine. Just make sure that they're your standards, how you want to show up every single day in this job. And then you need to pass those standards onto your team. Now, one of the biggest things I've learned in management is that if you say it once, it doesn't matter at all. No one remembers anything you say one time. So repetition is key. I would relay standards to your people at least twice a week, if not more. It could even be something that you repeat almost daily with them. What are our standards here on the team? Now, why is this so important? It's very important because, number one, if you share the standards with your people, then they're going to hold you accountable to those standards. Number two, if you share those standards with your people, they're going to hold themselves accountable to those standards. So they'll weed themselves out. If they're not showing up in the right way, that they know the rest of the team is showing up and that is the minimum standard, they'll leave on their own. You won't actually need to fire very many people. So standards are so important. I can't stress it enough. That's essentially like your culture at its core. Okay. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the vision. So you have your standards, which is like your system, but then you have your vision, which is essentially like the goal of where you want to get to, right? And so I know that every single manager has a vision for their area and for their team and the goals they want to hit, numbers, installs, all that stuff. But I very rarely see that vision passed on to the rest of the team. So you can never expect your people to get excited to not only do the minimum standards, but more than the minimum standards if they don't also catch the vision. And again, same thing with standards. Vision, if you tell it one time, doesn't matter. It's something that needs to be repeated over and over and over again. So if you have a team that knows the minimum standards and is collected together, collectively excited about the same vision for the team, that team's going to go to the moon. But if you're not clear on those two things, that's going to be a clunky, confused team that barely works and doesn't produce consistently.